How one real estate transaction can turn into 200 listings. Most agents think in transactions. They think about this end result. How can I position myself in the market to have the market bring me transactions? How do I get to that closing table, right? One deal, one commission, rinse, repeat. Hopefully they enjoyed the process, they enjoyed the service, and they send us referrals. They are repeat clients, that we have this like lifetime value inside of these clients. This conversation is about how to think about real estate like a business. Okay. So one of the things I want to discuss is vertical integration. This is not a conversation I hear a lot of realtors discussing. And so vertical integration, if you think about it from a manufacturing standpoint, it is generating, so manufacturing it, so design, creating it in a factory, distribution, retail, how do you market it, get it to the customer, close the sale. For some reason in the real estate business, we don't actually think this way. We don't think about where transactions originate from. Where are their inception point? How do they get to us? Like, where did this house come from? And I'm going to tell you a story, a personal one that woke me up. And it made me start to think like, instead of being a beggar in the marketplace, asking the market to allow me to participate, how can I, as a real estate agent, position myself to be a market creator? Where I create an environment, I create a marketplace that I'm guaranteed to participate in. This is where vertical integration comes from. Every business mechanically is the same. Whether it's a service, whether it's a product, whatever it is, the mechanics are the same. You're trying to build a bridge between those who want the thing you have and those who can pay for it. Like, you're trying to build this bridge between those who want it and the actual thing, right? And so the mechanics are absolutely the same, but for some reason, and I've been in real estate for about 4 years now, okay? For some reason, when I walk around my coming and going, everything is about transaction increases, which is kind of what I'm talking about, but it is not about business fundamentals. It's not about these mechanics, this distribution, the storage. Where do these transactions come from? How does the house even exist that we are trying to sell? Okay. Now I want to tell you a story because this is where this was born from. All right. My very first new construction transaction, when I was basically a year and a half into real estate. I get to go to this brand new construction neighborhood, really well done, great homes, houses are built great. And I start to ask questions. I start to pay attention. Now, first, I'm like, I want to be a new construction agent. Like these people are living the dream. Like, this is the concept we're discussing. The market, they're not begging to partake in a market. They have generated a market. They're inviting customers, clients to come participate in. That's the way a new neighborhood actually works, is here's my market. Here's the product that we created. If you are interested in this product, come participate in this market. It's right. And so a lot of people come in, don't have an agent, use this agent gets dual sides. But I started asking questions. Now, I enjoyed this process so much. I think I sold 4 houses in this neighborhood over like 6 months, because I was like, this is awesome. I love working with these people. I don't think I wrote a single contract. These site agents did all the work, and they paid me commission on the tail end. I was like, this is insane. Like, what a crazy process. So anyway, I start realizing that the neighborhood, it has this company, this local brokerage in my area. It has their name on the sign as the developer. And then the agents that are sitting in the office, they also work for this local brokerage. And so I start asking questions, and I start putting 2 and 2 together. So what's happening in this new construction neighborhood is this local broker is now finding, whether it be through relationships or whether it's through marketing or whatever, however they're finding these opportunities, found this area, this piece of land, this parcel that was a potential good development opportunity. Now, as a realtor, you should know where good development opportunities are. If a neighborhood were to pop up in that area, would you be excited about selling and listing houses? How easy or difficult would it be for you to move those homes in that location? Okay. And so I started realizing this local broker bought this land, raised the money, whether it was through bank or private investors. I actually know this one's through private equity. So they have a list of limited partners that have invested in their development part of their business. Okay. And it is fun. It put funds towards this development process. And now I know from the last 12 months of experience that I've had in my life, I know these numbers and the mechanics of land development. And so I've spent 12 months learning this process before I filmed this first video to come bring this information to you. Okay. And so they have these limited partners. They fund the development. This company now subcontracts the dirt movement. They're not actually moving dirt. They subcontract this work out, and then they turn around for a 20, 30, 40% markup on these lots and sell these lots to builders. Now, through the process of selling these lots that have been now graded and platted, approved by the county, all of the stuff, through this process of doing that, the negotiation that this local broker has with these builders is, hey, if you want to buy one of these lots, our brokerage gets exclusive listing. Here's our listing percentage. This is what we're going to charge you commission on these listings. This is what we're going to pay buyers. Boom, 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 all the way down the line. So now this local broker has generated their own market. They have not only made margin on the dirt, healthy margin on the dirt, which oftentimes hamstrings these new home builders, and it actually eats into their margin. But because the new home builders want more lots, they have to build more homes to keep their guys fed and keep the business growing and moving. They don't complain. They just take whatever the developer gives them. Okay. So now this local broker is making really good margin on the dirt. So they're profitable in this project from the dirt sales right there, right then and there. And now not only that, but they're going to get 200, 300, 400 listings where they're going to get dual side. They're going to get representation of buyer and seller probably half of the time. This is how a single transaction can bring you 200 listings. It's vertical integration in the real estate world. It is going back to the beginning and figuring out where these transactions come from. How does that house get there? Well, it's raw land. Well, how does the raw land turn into a neighborhood? There's a whole pre-development development process. That pre-development process, that is what our group are experts in. This is where we're going. And so we want to begin to educate you on this process so you can begin to be a market maker and not a market beggar. So you can begin to establish projected closings and listings into your future instead of what's the next video, what's the next TikTok dance, and nothing against those, right? I think realtors are some of the best marketers on planet Earth, right? But we are uniquely positioned with knowledge of the market, of what homes should be listed for, what sales price will actually get absorbed and in what timeline. These are the type of conversations we're going to have through this video series, is how do you assess these lands? How do you reverse engineer from that location? Is this actually going to be a good neighborhood? Do people actually want to live here? Are there good schools? Is there restaurants and grocery stores? Is it safe? Is there crime? Right? All of these questions that you know already as a realtor because you're a market expert. Yes, this would be a good area for a neighborhood. Fantastic. What's the size houses? How many bedrooms and bathrooms? Where's the absorption rate at what price point? How can we work backwards from this information and create an entire proposal and then move into this pre-development work and maybe make this neighborhood an actual opportunity? What if agents started working together with their expertise instead of being the last part of a transaction of that vertical integration chain where it's raw land, pre-development, development, vertical construction, homes are built, listing, transaction, closing, right? This process where we're not the last step on the train, but maybe we get involved in the beginning, and now we get to determine and dictate how this market we're creating is going to function, operate, and what the sales look like on the tail end. Now, I know this is a lot, and this is maybe breaking some thoughts, breaking some mindsets, some ways of thinking about real estate, but that's what I'm here for. I want to renew your mind. I want to open you up. I want you to think about how to be a market creator and not a market participant or market beggar. How do you actually generate your own market in your area? And how can you partner with us to bring these things to life? So if this interests you, you need to like, share, and subscribe. You need to let other real estate agents know about what's going on here, because I haven't heard this conversation anywhere else. I'm Nugget. See you guys next time. Peace.